Alright, let's play Delhi for the close. This is round 2. Wait, this is a hand game. Alright, well, catastrophe. Luckily we can just wait out the 5 minutes, but I will see you shortly. Let's pause this recording. No, let's talk a little. It's SPC level 3. What does that tell us? Sides are better than they would normally be because of two reasons. One, corners are easier to lock in if they have a maximum number facing out, which in this case is a 7, though sometimes 6s are pretty close. It cannot be taken, so blocking the other side can lock something in more easily. While in a plus wall game, you never really know what they can take. Two, sides, say next to a center starter, can often have nothing that can take them. Imagine a 2-6-3-6. If they don't have a 7 left or a 7 right, that's going to be safe, and it's just much easier for cards like that to land safely. Because there are no plus walls, it's harder to sweep at the end of the game. First turn has a much smaller advantage, if any advantage at all. It could be a second turn favored set. And what else do we got? I think that's it for my not particularly insightful insights. Let's respond to messages. But yeah, I think this should be interesting to see. I also noticed it's only the shared decks. I forgot how this tournament works, right? We declare decks, and then it's only the shared decks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open another window, open up view cards. Where is this? View cards. I'm going to pop this window. We're going to go to level 3. And we're going to have this open, and I don't want to translate from Hindi. What are you doing? FF4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and tactics. That should be easy to remember. So we'll scroll down to all the way to FF4. And then we can, if needed, if we're making a gamble, we can think about how many cards are available that do this. This is probably too many to check, but let's say we were thinking like, actually, one thing we can do that's maybe useful during this time, let's make sure I'm not wasting time, that we have. How many 7s are there in each direction on these decks? 1 up, 1 down, 2 left, 1 right. So 1, 1, 1, 2 going circle. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 2, 4, 2, 2, 2, 5, 2, 3, 2, 5, 2, 3, 3, 5, 2, 3, 3, 5, 3, 3, 6, 5, 3, 3, 6, 5, 4, 4, 6, 5, 4, 4, 6, 5, 5, 5, 6, 5, 5, 5, 7, 5, 5, 7, 7, 5, 5, 7, 7, 6, 5, 8, 7, 6, 5, 8, 7, 6, 6, 8, 7, 7, 6, 9, 7, 7, 6, 10, 7, 7, 6, 10, 7, 8, 6, 10, 7, 8, 7. And then we want FF Tactics. 10, 7, 9, 7, 11, 7, 9, 7, 11, 7, 10, 7, 11, 8, 10, 7, 11, 8, 10, 7. So it is much easier to have, not much easier, this isn't a massive margin. It's 21 up down to 15 side to side. But there's about a, just over a 4 to 3 shot, okay. A little under 60%. More like little more than 60, around 60% of them have, little under 60%, but around 60% have the 7 up down, and around 40% have a 7 side to side. Maybe that's interesting information to keep in mind. Maybe not. Yeah, but probably not useful, but maybe useful. Can be nice to have, like, Doing little research like that can provide tiny edges. It can also lead you astray. What you don't want to do, there's some interesting stuff on baseball coaches where if there's a decision where there's basically just a clear mathematically correct decision and they're given math says X, they will pick X. But if they're given math says X and the math that adds up to X, the cost of this decision, the benefit of that, the upside, the downside, they might find something in that data that moves them away from what that data clearly adds up to. There's in a bunch of regions where there's kind of a clearly correct decision, and if you just present it as kind of like decision versus decision and some kind of total value where there's clearly one that's better total value, people will reliably pick that. But you give them all the little things it breaks down into, and people will start to have more and more possible reason to pick the wrong choice, as it were. And all right, SPRC 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tactics. Yes, we'll go say best of luck. And we got second turn. That's fine. Probably slightly advantage to get second turn, so I can't complain there. You'll notice our only 7 is down. Ooh, that was another question. What's the rate of cards with a 7? And we basically know this because we know there were 36 sevens. Because it was something like 11, 7, 10, 7, something like that, or 11, 8, 10, 7. So 36 sevens, and there are 11 cards per level, and per deck, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 decks. Therefore, there's 88 available cards, 36 have a 7. Call that a 40% shot for a 7. That's less than that, but okay. I've already forgotten what the numbers were. It might not be less. Okay, what were we talking about? Right. So knowing some underlying numbers, it's really easy to start convincing yourself that that must be the thing that matters. And it should almost always only be a tiebreaker between other decision points. But, okay. So first thing to note, 2, 6, 3, 6, and 6 actually has like a decent chance to be safe. We know there are 15 out of 88 cards with a 7 left or right. So 73 out of 88 is 0.83 basically. And so we can do 0.83 to the 5th. And so there is a almost 40% chance he would not be able to take 2, 6, 3, 6. Now that's a 60% chance he could. We don't have any takebacks. I'm not saying we should do that. But gambling around that has some upside. Okay, first thing I like to look at is what are my synergies where I can play off the card they played. For instance, 1, 6, 5, 4 has a 5 facing down. Can I play with that to set up pluses or sames? And the answer's kind of, maybe we could do 1, 4, 7, 4, and 1. We have a plus in both 2 and 4 different cards, but that's okay. We're on second turn. All right, that's a possibility. 1, 4, 7, 4, and 1. Is there anything else there that looks all that appealing? Not to me. I really want to set up synergies, and it's nice to set up synergies on weaker numbers like the 3 because there's more combo potential other ways. In 3, is there anything? 2, 6, 3, 6 does give me both ways. Not a secure way necessarily with 5, 6, 2, 4, but it does give me both ways. I do think 2, 6, 3, 6 might be a really good card, but I could be wrong. There could be a lot of 6s facing out that it just can't take, and having a 7 is more useful. All right, that's another candidate move. There's also 6, 3, 2, 5, and 9 sets up a plus in 6, but does not give me 8. I'm not interested. I want to have both. And anything for 7. If there is, I'm not seeing it. Do we really want the game to be side to side or up down? I think we want the game to be side to side if we have a choice. So 4 or 6 seem more appealing to me than 2 or 8, though 2, 6, 3, 6, and 2 or 8, as I said, is a decent gamble. And even if they can take it with a 7, it might feel very risky to do so. I think I want to go for one of the corners. I think that means I'm between 2, 6, 3, 6, and 3 or 1, 4, 7, 4 in 1. I'm leaning 1, 4, 7, 4 and 1. I like the idea of following with 1, 4, 5, 6, and 2, and it might be that he just has no captures. That 7 might be really hard for him to take. One downside of this is maybe he can attack it immediately in 2 himself, because my 2, 6, 3, 6, and 4 does not land that well. But I think that's a risk I'm willing to take. I don't think many people attack it that early, but there is a reason to do so in a same plus game, because you can often take something with safety facing out, with that 7 facing out. So, as I said, side squares are more valuable, but it's hard to play into taking and having a high number facing out. So I'm hoping he's dissuaded from this. But if there's ever a time when players are more likely to do this, it is with the plus wall roll off. But I really like the follow up of 1, 5, 6, 4, and 2. We create 2 challenges for them. These are tough numbers for them to face. I think I have decent cards for the rest of the game. Normally, if someone plays for a slash, I look to slide in one of 2, 4, 6, or 8. But I think here we might want to just be posing as many challenges as we can, stuff that is really tough to take, because I think first turn is bad. I don't think I don't think we have some big advantage on second turn. Like this is not like the normal distribution is something like with all rules in play on level 10, 50% win, 50% win for first turn, 25% tie, 25% loss. I don't think it's anywhere like that big a split, but I think there is a big split. Or I think there is not the normal. Okay. I notice we have a plus and 6, so we're not in a rush to close off the board. I don't think we have much information on his hand. We don't see like similar gaps, right? My 4 to the 5, if he had, there was a 4 to the right, if he had played a 5 facing up in 9, that would be a really big indicator that he had the same card for 2 and 6. Here, there's no such indicator. The 7 to the 3 is not like the 4 to the 5. It looks like he's setting up distinct cards, which hopefully means he doesn't have amazing play on any of the squares. So I think the candidate moves are 2, 6, 3, 6, and 8, starting to set up a sliding game plan. But I want that card for 4. I like having the recapture in 4. That is my only recapture for 4. So my only slides in 8 use up my recaptures for 2 or 4. I don't need 1, 4, 6, 5 for 2, but I'd like 1, 4, 6, 5 for 2. So I don't love my slides there. I don't have a slide in 4. I could slide in 2 rather than plus in 2. But I don't have 8. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't have 8. It's pretty easy for me to play around the card in 5. I don't mind flipping it that much. So I'm thinking I follow the plan and just go in 2. And I'm not looking to play a sliding game. I'm looking to play a game that's just tough for them to take stuff. Now, if I was Deli, I'd probably only go for the slash if I did have 4. But I think that's a weirdness of me and shouldn't be read into other players. So I'm thinking we go 4. And if they go, we go 2. And if they go 4, they have to flip 5 to flip 1. Unless there are rares, but I don't think there are rares. They have to flip 5 to flip 1, because to flip 1, they have to plus or same it. And if they flip 5, we can then follow up with something like 2, 6, 3, 6, and 8, and then the combo back with 6, 3, 2, 5, and 6. And as long as they don't combo us at the end, we're in good shape. So I like this. It either gets rid of 2 or 8. Either way, my 2, 6, 3, 6, or 4 or 8 has a clear place it's going to probably end up going. I guess the move I least want to see is 8 in reply to this. I might not have a great rejoinder to 8. But I think this is a problem for future me. Yeah, let's go 2. Again, sides are really good. We want to have landed a lot of moves in side squares this game. It's hard for him to have the plus or plus wall at the end. He has to try to hold on to the right cards, but it seems very likely to me we're going to land 6, 3, 2, 5, and 6 at some point. Um, and then he just has to have the plus. If he has a 7 in one direction, he can't take the other, and so he probably doesn't have compensation for me getting a nice combo in 6. So he really just has to have a double number facing out there, and that can be hard to hold on to because I could have anything facing out when I go 6. For instance, I could play 2 6 3 6 and 6, which I did not notice until now, and might be the much safer way to play it. Though if he keeps a 7 to the left, then the 2 6 3 6 is an easy capture. We do know 7s to the left are the most infrequent card available. There were only 7 of those by my count, but yeah, there might be an interesting choice between which card we're going to end up sticking in 6. Because if he goes 8, I might just play like 5 6 2 4 and 4. And then he'll go 7 and we'll go 6. And with 2 6s out, we'll have taken 5 cards on board. So we'll be up 6-4 with 2 6s out. I think that's genuinely hard to take. We know there are 17 cards that have a 7 left or down. How many cards have double numbers left down? There's 2 2 6 6, so that's 1. There's 1 7 4 4, that's 2. There's 3 5 4 4, that's 3. Okay, this is more than I was hoping. So we're at 3. 4 with 4 5 4 4. Though a lot of these cards, 3 5 5 5, that's 5. 3 6 4 4, that's 6. A lot of these cards I'm not sure would make 2 3 6 6, that's 7. Ooh, there's a lot. Maybe we do have to play the 2. I mean, there's things like 6 2 6 2 that punish that, but 6 4 4 4 is another. There's some 1 6 5 5. Okay, there's a lot of double numbers facing exactly down left. Okay, he goes 3 3 7 4. He sees a side with safety, he takes it. This makes sense. Now I don't have great play in 8. Okay, so 5 6 2 4 in 7 is kind of appeal. Maybe it's silly, but I think there's a decent chance he doesn't have a good card to put in 8. But if he goes 3, I might be unhappy anyway. Maybe 2 6 3 6 and 7. Could also start in 8, but I really don't want him to combo me there. Start in 3. 3 is very standard, but I don't want to go 8. I can take back stuff in 8, I guess, but like I don't have anything comfortable to put in 3. So I think the question is, do I want to go 7 and 6 or 8 and 6? I'm really freaked out by how many double numbers there are facing down and left. That was so many more than I expected there to be. I wish I had 8. I'd love to play 5 6 2 4 and 6. Or something like that and combo back. Let's just play 7. They have 8, it's really clumsy for me. They gave up their same for 6. Or potentially gave up the same for 6. I think we're doing so well, but this just happens to be clumsy, which is nicely done by him. Um, 5 6 2 4 in 7 is maybe the safest move. Because if he feels he has to go 3, if he doesn't have 8 because it's scary to be comboed through 6, then he probably has to go 3, and he probably can't take, and then we can just go 8 for a tie. But if we're feeling risky, we can also go 6. But if he does take, then 8 is suddenly not a tie. And he hasn't shown a card that would land well in 8 himself yet. So there's a decent chance he has 8. I really don't know. Trying to find a clean path, but I hate sequences where I land 8. I don't want to play 8. Does that mean I should play 8 now? Might mean I should play 8 now. 2, 6, 3, 6, and 8 is hard to take. It's not quite the numbers that have faced out that he's alleged he has. If he combos it, it's not that bad for me. Does threaten 7. I'm going to try it. I'm really not sure of this. I am now going with the double sixes facing out strategy, which, as we've seen, there's a whole lot of cards that hit it. And maybe him using the 3-3-7-4 makes it more likely he has those cards. That might, because like that's such a good card for the top right. Why would you use it unless you have something that might be even better? And like a 2-6-6-2 is going to be 2-2-6-6 is going to be devastating. I don't know. I'm not sure on my hand reads. I really like the position I got out of my first 2 moves, but I couldn't find a clear path on the exact numbers facing out. So I'm quite worried. And like this might just be great for me. If he has like anything with a 7 as his last card, my 6-3-2-5 is going to land fine. Unless it's like, a 7-3-1-1 or whatever. I don't know what cards exist. Like 7-4-3-3 would kill me, but that seems so unlikely. Okay. Oh, does he have combos everywhere? Because I can only take in 7 comboing. I don't have a non-combo capture in 3. That's so weird. If he set up the combo in 3, and he probably did, he just wins. Huh, that's funny. Alright, congrats to him. Just had no downs. That ends up really hurting. Yeah. I think we lose 6-4. Because I think he says 3. He goes 3. Now, maybe he doesn't have 3 and he was bluffing because he didn't have stuff for other squares. But he kind of did have 7. He could go 7. I think he was trying to get the tie, and if I just happen to not be able to take the 4, he wins. But it worked here. Nicely done. Good game. Let's see it. Can't tie now. So I guess I can close the other window. Yeah. Alright, he says he has it. Six, 6-3-1. Man. Yeah, so if I had anything for 3, obviously, like, he is playing for a tie there. Because I'm supposed to go 3, and that makes it 5-5, and as long as I don't have the combo, he gets the tie. He is trying to get the tie here. Because he didn't want to play an endgame where he has to go 4-5-3-6-7 and then have 6-6-3-1 to sweep. It makes sense, yeah. No, I think it makes sense. Really unlucky final cards for us to lose to his force a tie line. But I think what he did makes a lot of sense. I think what I did makes sense too. And I think I was ahead. But I couldn't get the endgame to work. Thing was, if I went 7, what happens? He has this perfect card for 8, but he has this completely dead card after. So if I'd gone 7, and I'm not sure 7 was better, but it would have worked if I'd gone 7. Interesting. Yeah, I have no idea if that means I should have gone 7, or if this just happened to, line up the way close does. I like his decision making. Because I think he did have a bad position, and he correctly realized if I go 7 and he has 6, I'm screwed. I'm going to lose. 6-6-3-1 takes nothing. So, I think he made a nice call. Yeah. I guess if I start in 7, he never goes 6 in reply, while if I start in 8, he sometimes does. It seemed really weird to be afraid of 6. It needs to be an exact sequence like this, where it sets up a combo chain, and it's something I can't touch. Now, I can't touch most things, admittedly. In fact, I can't touch anything in 6. But it needs to set up a combo chain, and he has the exact sequence, but maybe that means 7 was better. Because if I go 7 and he goes 8, it's very similar to if I go 8 and he goes 7. That's interchangeable. If I go 7, it gives him more likelihood to go in 3. If I go 8, it gives him more likelihood to go in 6. I have more up than down. I didn't like locking in his card for him, but I think I probably should have gone 7. I think I did screw this up. Just because you lose a game of close does not mean you screwed anything up, but I do think I screwed something up here. I think I should have gone 7. And I should have understood the sequencing. I was trying to optimize I go 7, he goes 8, or I go 8, he goes 7. But I should have thought about the paired squares, where if I go 7, he's more likely to go 3. If I go 8, he's more likely to go 6. Which do I have better play against? I just assumed I had good play because I had 7 in the way I played it. And that is pretty appealing. Alright, well, that's a video. Good game. And there is my 2-round run in the weekly closed.